Hey, if you are watching right now, we are no longer live. It's just the intro before everybody jumps on. This is the new bag. Cannot wait to show you. Hey, Deanie. Hey, Teresa. Hi, Terry. Hi, Teresa. Hey, Susan. Kim, finally. So excited. Marie. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Erica. Happy Friday. I don't think I've ever been live and said that. Hey, Kayla, Nicole, Nina. Hi, Beauty, Anna. Sarah. Wait, getting ready to clock out. Hey, Damie. Okay, where is it? Hello. Hey, Kim. Hi, Ida. It's coming. Hey, Tara. Nicole, me too. Me too. Thanks, Vivian. Hi, Louise. Hi, Kim. My tie-dye purse arrived yesterday. Yay! It looks good with that navy, huh? Thanks, Nina. Hey, Mina Love, Debbie, Laura. All right. Are you guys ready? Hey, Kim. Yeah, right? Hey, Tina. All right, here it is. This is the name of the pattern. It's not mine. It's called the Aries Crossbody Bag by Knotted Threads Co. So, hurry. So there's a couple of different versions that are out there. There's the regular version, there is a modified version, and mine is kind of like a modified version. I am obsessed with this bag. So without further ado, here she is. So this doesn't come with the pattern. I've added this. There's a couple of tweaks that I've done. It has a gusset all the way around. There is a zipper panel, not in the original pattern. In the modified pattern, they show you how to add one. Mine is different, and I'll show you how I do mine. The shoulder strap, it just comes with one, and it's kind of sleek, so it's like perfect for like a night out, or I mean really anywhere. I wear mine everywhere. I have made mine to where the shoulder strap comes off. All of them will come with a shoulder strap as well as a crossbody strap. All of my crossbody straps. That's just a dealer. Okay. It's okay. Hey. What? Butters. They're as excited as I am. I'm sorry. They'll calm down. So it comes with a shoulder strap as well as a crossbody strap. And all of the crossbody straps on these bags, Butters, stop it, calm down, are 1.5 inches wide, so they're wider than the normal straps that come with the bag. This is also removable. And then there will be an option to add a chain strap. This is the new bag. Wear a full-size zip around wallet fit in. Yes. I'll show you guys what will fit. So there'll be an option to add a chain strap to all of them as well, so it will fancy it up even more. Let me grab a couple of things to show you what it fits, and then we'll just jump right into making one. Isn't it cute? Aries. Yeah, it's Aries. I think it's Aries crossbody bag. I know the designer is Knotted Threads Co. So the front pocket on here, or the zipper pocket, is actually kind of the back, because here's the front, or you can wear it however you want, front or back. This holds a ton of stuff too. So I know it looks kind of like it's only a little pocket, but the way that I've designed it, it actually comes from the top of the bag all the way to the bottom. They're not on my website yet. They'll be there tomorrow. So let me grab a couple of things. what did I do? Oh, phone will definitely fit because you have all this room up here as well. So it doesn't just stop down here, it comes all the way up here. So a phone and the passport holder will both fit in this pocket because we have that extra space up at the top. So even though it looks like a really small pocket, it holds a ton of stuff. Let me grab zip around and the regular wallet. So that will fit, and then of course there's still a lot of space left inside. There's also a little card holder, so you can, it'll hold multiple business cards, ID, credit cards, etc. So there's the zip around wallet. There is the regular wallet. That doesn't give you a whole lot of extra space after you have the full size wallet in there. Mini wallet fits. It does not fit the I saw somebody ask about the notebook holder. It won't fit that. I mean, it will, but it won't close. Hey, Alice. So it fits a ton of stuff. Let me get everything together. Get my stuff out of here. And then I'll show you guys how I make it modified, as well as all of the changes that I do. So like the zipper, exterior zipper pocket, the credit card holder, the way that I do my zipper panel, and there's a couple other things that I do a little differently. I can give you the measurements for those because that's not in the pattern. It was added by me. And the reason why I feel comfortable doing that is because the person that did add a zipper panel to theirs, there is, in their Facebook group, they give the measurements and the creator was fine with it. So I feel like it's okay. Thanks, Tammy. Sorry, I missed a lot of y'all's comments while I was going through that. So let's go ahead and make her. Another thing that I love about it is that there's actually like a little bitty curve right here. I add a second rivet to the side that's different than the pattern. I think that's about it that I do differently. All right, let's do it. Got a couple inches so that the notebook could fit. Yeah, for a custom. The Big Sister. Yeah, the Rowena. That's the new one that just came out. Okay. I have to run and grab one thing that I forgot. So here are the strap connectors. I add a piece of Decaville Light. I adhere that on just because, in my opinion, I like extras better. Extra layers for a connector is better. Oh, the new tag? I posted it in my Facebook group. There's these two little BBs. Yeah, that's where you get those beautiful crossbody straps. Amazon. Hi, Ann. Hi, Joanne. All right, so crossbody strap. Zippers. For my zipper pocket on the outside, I use 9 inches. And then for the zipper panel, I use 12 inches. The credit card holder on the inside is 4 1/4 by 2 1/2. So 4 1/4 by 2 1/2, and all you got to do is just make a rectangle. And then I go in 1 inch on each side, and then I just use something to draw the curve. So 2 1/2 by 4 1/4, come in an inch, and then just use something to draw a curve. Here's the inside body. Here is the zipper layover that I make is 8 inches wide. Or no, I'm sorry, 8 inches, let's say long. 8 inches long, and then I believe it's an 1.5 inch wide. So 8 inches long, 1.5 inch wide, and then all I do is come down 3/4 of an inch, make a mark, come up 3/4 of an inch, make a mark, and then I just do a 1/2 inch from the center. So that's how I make this. They're really easy to make on your own. You don't need a template if you don't want. The exterior zipper pocket is 9 inches by 7. You don't have to memorize or write down these. I'm going to post this video to YouTube so you can always go back and watch it again. So 9 inches wide by 7 inches tall is the exterior zipper pocket. Here is the exterior of the bag that we're making. The interior gusset and the exterior gusset. The interior is going to be a little bit shorter than the exterior because we have little side panels to add on. Let me find them. So the interior is a little bit shorter, but we're going to add these little side panels to make it the same length. Will a custom be made like the one you showed? Yeah, unless you wanted to change the size. You could always change the size with a custom order. All right, and then we have a shoulder strap. My shoulder strap is 22 inches long by 2.5 inches wide, which is different than the pattern. Today's the day. Today is the day. Let me sit this in the back so you guys can see it. Because I know people are going to be asking when they come in. If somebody comes in like, let me go grab one pattern piece and then we will get started. Alright, for this pattern I use a plastic chopping board. I actually got this from Amazon. I know a lot of people get theirs from the dollar store or Dollar Tree. We don't have Dollar Tree out here, and I just found that Amazon is starting to sell these. I think it's a lot longer or wider than the ones that I used to get at the dollar store too. So I got this off of Amazon. The first step is going to be to mark up our pattern. There's a couple of things that we have to mark up before we get started. This is the exterior panel. I can't give you these measurements because these are in the pattern, but I'm going to show you what I do a little differently. You have to mark a certain distance from the top. Now, because there's a curve, you can't just lay a ruler down and measure down the distance. You would have to do it all along. So what I do is I line my ruler up at the top. There are 2 straight edges, so I'll come down, measure my distance there, and then I take my pattern piece and I line it up to those 2 measurements, and then just trace down the top. So I have the same distance all the way around because I use my little pattern piece. So I'm going to do that on the front as well as the back. And to me, it's just so much easier because the alternative would have to be to measure down the distance and make a mark all the way around and then connect the marks. No, thank you. All right, what else? We have to mark the same thing for our interior. So just like the gusset that has that top added, the interior also has a top added. So we're going to do the same thing with those. Happy Friday! Thanks, Teresa. So just make a mark at the ends and then line up that pattern piece to trace all the way around. Again, don't worry about having to memorize this stuff or take notes. It'll be on YouTube. I'll get it up there this evening. So just like the exterior, we're doing the same thing for the interior. Yes, Creative Illustrations. What was the clear put? This is just called, I don't want to show you the whole thing because, no, it doesn't have anything specific. These are all my measurements that I write on here. This is a plastic chopping board I got from Amazon. Okay, so those pieces are all marked. And then now we need to do the same with a couple other pieces. Let me just grab those real quick. So here is the gusset top. There's just a straight line on the top, so you don't need a pattern piece for that. You just use the measurement from the pattern. Here is the gusset exterior. I'm gonna mark that up. Bye. Sam, this is the Aries crossbody bag by Knotted Threads. All right, I think that's all for our markings, and then we have to markings with a pen. Then we have to do a couple other markings. Then we'll jump into it. So there's a little bit of prep with this, but it's not that big of a deal. I want to find the center of my bottom. So I'm just going to fold that over. Just make a little notch. Can you show us the prints that will be available? Yes, I'm going to do that on my YouTube. So I am live on TikTok, obviously, at 2 o'clock or whenever this is over. I'm going to go over to YouTube and I'm going to make another one live. And then after that live, I'm going to show all of the prints. And then if you're not able to join that live, the live will be up right afterwards. So you'll be able to see them. Our interior piece, I'm going to find the top and the bottom and mark those centers. They are Highland cows, yep. So you guys have seen 2 prints already, the Highland cows and then that message that I just showed you. I have 2 of those available. All right, so I'm adding a notch in the top and the bottom of the interior lining. I just did the bottom for the exterior. We need to mark the center, of our exterior gusset. The way that I make mine, I have a template for the bottom of this with the same material. I only do half of it though, and then I just mirror it. So I have a center mark already, and I know that that is the center. Is that it? I think that's it. Let's jump into sewing. Let's do it. All right, let's start with our shoulder strap. We can get that out of the way. Thanks, Sam. Sound is strange again. Is it strange? I haven't even started sewing. All right, so again, the shoulder strap I use is 22 inches long, 2.5 inches wide. When it's finished, it'll be about a little bit bigger than 3/4 of an inch. And that's because of the way I fold this up. So I have a line drawn down the center. I am going to mark the center between the edge and this line. So this is the center. Oh my gosh. This is the center between here and here. This is the center between here and here. I'm going to cut up 1/4 of an inch. And then I'm going to cut at a 45-degree angle. That is going to allow me to get a nice finished edge when I'm done sewing. So this is what it looks like before I fold it up. I'm going to add some double-sided tape right down the center. This is 1/2 inch double-sided tape. I get mine from Wawak, WAWAK.com. I think that doorbell earlier was my package that I ordered from them. I love their woven interfacing. I believe their brand is called Profuse, and I ordered like 5. Hey, Lena. Oh, cool, Angie. Which one? So the first step is to fold down that little tab that measures 1/4 of an inch, and then we're going to fold in each side and line that up just shy of that center line. Just like that. So if you see, it's kind of shy of that center line. You did miss the reveal. It's right here though. Yeah, it's similar to SF101. It's a little bit cheaper than Joann. I've actually just reached out to a supplier, and I'm gonna see if I can start getting mine directly from the supplier. You have to order quite a bit, and that's okay because I use quite a bit. But for a cheaper price, I have to pay. Wawak is great. It's free shipping if your order is over $100, except if you live in Hawaii. Then it's about $60 just in shipping. So when I order from them, I usually order a lot of bulk stuff just so I don't have to pay shipping every single time. DDL 8700. I hope you love it. All right, so we folded up both sides, we folded down the top, and then now we're going to fold this again and stitch all the way around. There's quite a bit of people who have that sewing machine. I don't think I've ever heard anything bad about it. Don't be nervous. Just take your time. Okay. Now, typically when I make a bag, we set this aside, right? Because we add it on at the very end. Because this is going to be removable, I'm going to go ahead and add my hardware and install it on my clips. What am I looking for? My rivets. Any new prints? There will be tomorrow. I have a new line of bags that are coming out tomorrow, and I do have a couple of new prints. All right, so I'm going to add that to the hardware. Punch through both layers, making sure it's nice and even. Add my rivet. I took out 4 because I'm used to 2 shoulder straps and needing 4 rivets. So right now it's just on my swivel hook. I'm going to set it in a second. I want to make sure that I'm using the exact same side when I put my other one on and do the same thing there. Okay. Let me put these up, grab my press. I'll set those rivets and then we'll set that aside. Hi, Miss Janice. All right, so my shoulder strap is all done, or yeah, my shoulder strap is all done with my hardware. So I'm going to set this aside. And then let's work on the exterior of the bag. So I am going to add my name tape to one side and then the zipper pocket to the other side. They'll be available tomorrow. I'm thinking, I mean, everything is all set up, like they're all uploaded on the website. I don't think that I have to change anything. So, I mean, I could make them available tonight. I just want to make sure everybody knows that because I've been telling my Facebook group Saturday. And I know some of them don't get on TikTok or YouTube. So I don't want to psych anybody out. I go down about 2 inches. Let's go 2.5, just because there's a face in the way. but I usually go down 2 inches from the top. Put this in the center. Is tomorrow spelled tonight? I mean, if we can get a consensus, I'll post in my, so here's the plan for today. I'm doing the live here and then I'm going over to YouTube and doing a live. In between those 2 lives, I'll go ahead and post in my Facebook group and just let everybody know that I'll be posting it tonight. That'll give them a heads up. And then once I'm done with my YouTube, I'll post them. That way, if anybody's watching over there, you can see all the prints live before I post them to my website. So this is going to be the front. And then let's do the back. So the back has a zipper pocket with a zipper overlay. There's a couple of different ways to do this. I'm going to show you how I do it. If you do it a different way and you want to keep doing it that way, fantastic. All right, so here are my interior pocket pieces. I'm just going to take one right now. I'm using the zipper by the yard, so I don't have my pull on here. I'm not going to put my pull on here until later. First time saying live on. Oh, hi. Okay. Let me change my attention. So one of our pockets, we're going to have that right side up. We're going to have our zipper right side up or the teeth right side up. And we're going to sew that down. Just on my shirt. Okay. Next up, we're going to take our other pocket piece right side up. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to take our zipper right side up and lay that over there. So our interior piece right side up, zipper right side up, other pocket piece wrong side up. Sew that down. I don't remember what she said. Where the template material off Amazon. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can just show it to you and you can do a little screenshotty. Do I have Amazon on here? I don't think I do. Let me just log in real quick. Oh, 2-step verification. Hold on. I think it's going to pause it. Are we back? All right, hold on. Let me go to my orders. Plastic, cutting. There we go. The title of it is YEXPRESS. That's what it looks like if you want to take a screenshot. Or again, this is going to be up on Amazon, so if you want to do it later, that's fine too. And it comes, they're 17 inches by 11 inches, so they're way longer, and it comes in a pack of 15 for 18 bucks. It'll last me forever. Not forever, but you know what I mean. All right, back to our zipper pocket. So to make sure that your zipper is correct, you're going to see the top of the zipper or the zipper teeth, and then you're going to see the wrong sides of each pieces of fabric. I'm going to set this aside and grab my overlay. Thank you guys. Thanks, Robin. Okay, now on my overlay on the top and on the bottom, I'm going to use 1/4 inch double-sided tape. And I'm going to apply it at the very bottom. I'll show you up close what it looks like. At the very edges of the outside, so where the curve is, right here. Take that backing off, both sides. I am going to go down, I think 1.5 inches is what I normally do. 1.5 inches from the top. So the top has 2 straight edges on each end. I'm going to go down 1.5 inches. And then I'm going to center this. Uh-oh. My ruler shifted. Gonna butt that top right up to that ruler, press it down. So now our panel is just taped on here. The next step is going to be to stitch all the way around the outside. I use a 1/16 inch seam allowance. Make sure my tension's right. Stitch length is right. I don't back stitch when I start and stop. I'm going to pull it through instead.
So you can get back to your monster to-do list. Really? Get a quote at progressivecommercial.com.
It just came on. All right. So I'm not going to back stitch when I start and stop. Go nice and slow. Make sure everything is nice and even. I'm going to pause right here and pull my thread through. Make sure my threads don't get stitched over. Okay. Pull that out, knot it off. I'm going to use my lighter to singe that down. It looks like it just kind of nested right here in the corner. Okay, so here's what it looks like, just stitched all the way around the very top. Now what I'm going to do is use my seam ripper and I'm going to cut right through the center. I'm going to use my seam ripper to get it started and then transition to my scissors. When you cut down, you're going to come to the end of it. I'm going to take my scissors under that and cut about 1/4 inch. Do the same thing on the other side. Tuck your scissors under 1/4 inch. So I just cut it all the way in half, all the way to the end. I want to leave about 1/4 inch on each side. And then now what I'm going to do, I'm pulling my fabric down so that I can look at my overlay. I'm going to make sure I don't cut through that. And then I'm going to cut up about 1/4 inch. Same thing on both sides. So that's what it looks like. Cut up And then now I'm just going to hold that piece of fabric up so that I can see my overlay, and then I'm going to cut right along the edge where that tape is. So what it should do is keep about 1/4 of an inch of material from where you cut to where you stitched. I'm going to do that on both sides. And I just keep my scissors flat while I'm cutting it. I'm not going to angle it, and that usually helps you to not cut through that overlay. And just go slow. So I want 1/4 of an inch of material all the way around underneath those stitches that we made. This is what it looks like on the front right now. Now I'm going to take 1/4 inch double-sided tape, and then I'm going to tape the top and the bottom again on that fabric that we left behind. That 1/4 inch piece of fabric right here that we left behind, I added a piece of double-sided tape. I'm going to do it on the top and the bottom. That's why I leave that much fabric behind, is to put the next set of double-sided tape. Now I will say with this pattern you will use a lot of double-sided tape. Get you some. All right, now what we're going to do is take the backing off. Set that aside. I'm going to grab our zipper pocket that we did earlier. I'm going to add my pull. I'm struggling going around round corners on the machine. Me too sometimes, and it's okay to just stop and just hand crank, right? Hand crank, turn your fabric, hand crank, turn your fabric until you get around that corner. Oh my gosh, guys, stop. Mine gets sticky with double-sided tape too. I don't really think that there's a way around it. I know that they make like needle oil so that you can put, like, you can lube your needle up with oil so that way it kind of goes through the tape and not get sticky. There's a couple other things that you can use too, but mine gets sticky. I think it just comes with sewing with double-sided tape. All right, so I have my zipper pull on here. I want mine to open left to right, so I want to make sure that my pull is over here in the left position to open. Yeah. And then now what I'm going to do while my pocket piece is open, I'm going to center the pocket to the panel. And I use these little pieces right here because I make this pocket a little bit smaller than the width. And then I'm going to center that zipper tape on one side first, and then I'll go into the other side. There we go. And just press it down in that tape. Make sure that your pull is inside of that overlay. So this is what it's going to look like, just taped in place. You want to make sure that your pocket pieces are open, and then now we're going to sew around the inside box of the zipper. Make sure it's nice and even. That's the good thing about this tape, is that you can pull it up, put it back down. So now we're going to do a 1/16 or as far as close to the edge as possible around the inside of the zipper. Same thing, I'm going to pull my thread through and knot it off. Get my pull out of the way. Pull my thread through and then knot it off. Looks like I accidentally, no, thought I sewed that down, but I didn't. It's hard to see this brown thread on this brown fabric. Okay. Then now I'm going to singe those little pieces of thread. I don't want to burn my zipper, so I'm going to get that out of the way. Okay, so we have our zipper overlay and our zipper pocket adhered to the exterior panel. Let me show you up close what that looks like stitched on. Now what I'm going to do with my pocket open, I'm going to cut this extra material off of the bottom. I'm not going to do that to the top though. So the bottom is going to be even. The pocket is going to be even with the bottom. And then now what I do with the top is I'm just going to fold that over and match it to the bottom that I did cut and then clip that in place. So again, what some people would do would be to pull this down and then cut off the excess just like we did the front piece. I want that extra material up at the top. It gives me about another inch at the top of the bag. So that way our pocket doesn't just start at the top of the zipper. It actually is all the way up here so that we can get extra stuff or taller things into that pocket. See how far up my fingers go? It gives us an extra 1.25 inches. And then now what we're going to do is stitch down, across, and up this way. So we're not going to stitch the outside piece of fabric. We're going to stitch our pocket shut that way. And then trim off the excess. I cut my pocket pieces a little bit bigger than I need to just so I can cut off the extra. I'd rather have too much than not enough. So that is what the pocket looks like on the outside, and now it's fully lined on the inside. So exterior is done. Now what we're going to do is add our gusset. So this is the gusset. Remember, we marked the top of it. We have our center marked for the gusset and then the center bottom marked for the exterior. I'm going to clip this pocket out of the way so I don't accidentally sew it. And then we're going to install our gusset. So I'm going to match my centers and then clip all the way around. I like to start with the straight ways. So the bottom is straight before it gets to the curve and then the side is straight. So I'm going to start there and then I'm going to deal with my curves later. So just bring this around, start at the top. Just go down the straight ways. I'm not going to worry about this curve just yet. Same thing over here. I've made like 25 of these in like the last week and a half. So that's probably why it looks easy when I'm doing it. But I mean, it's a great pattern. I wouldn't even say that it's a hard pattern. Especially if you do it with the modifications. All right, so now what I'm going to do is take my stapler. You can clip them in place first and then staple them. I like to staple anything that I sew that has the curves because when we're sewing, we have to take these clips off. And a lot of the times the fabric will shift when we're sewing and that's going to mess up our seam allowance. So I like to clip it in place, staple it and clip it in place and then staple it in place and then sew it. I'm going to clip outside of my seam allowance, so I'm not going to sew over these staples, but it's going to keep my fabric lined up so that it doesn't shift. So I just add a couple of staples right along the edge, and that's going to keep that fabric together. Same thing over here. The pattern has you do this cutting along the edge. I didn't find that I needed it. If yours isn't matching up, I would recommend going to the designer's YouTube tutorial. She shows you how to make it match up if it doesn't, but mine usually match up really well. Sometimes it's the material. If your material doesn't have a little bit of stretch or if it's just different, sometimes it can make it a little bit trickier matching it. And we're gonna set this on. I'm gonna make sure I don't catch my pocket. All right, so you see where that stitch is? My staples are way out of the way, so I don't have to worry about getting those caught in my sewing machine. Now I'm gonna remove my staples. And then what I like to do with this pattern is take my pinking shears and cut along the curved edges as well as the bottom. I find that it just allows my bags to lay nice and flatter because we don't have all that extra material. I don't know if the pattern calls for it, but that's what I do. All right. I'm just going to take my pinking shears, make sure I got all my staples out. So just starting at the top of the curve, I'm going to cut down to about 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to leave 1/4 of an inch behind. And then stop at the curve on the other side. So start at the top of the curve and at the top of the other curve. So we got one side sewed onto the gusset, and then we're going to do the exact same thing with the other side. Yeah, this is the Aries. I think it's Aries crossbody bag by Knotted Threads Co. Bye, Robin. Oh, do they, Nikki? I don't think I've ever gotten scissors from Walmart. Those I got from Amazon. Okay. All right, so I got my straightaways put together, and then I'm going to use my stapler to do the curves. I also find that when I'm connecting the two pieces of material, instead of trying to fit the main panel to the gusset coming in this way, I go from the gusset around. I don't know if that makes much of a difference. I think it does. So when I'm fitting them, I like to look at the gusset part. Oh, no thanks, Barry. That's so sweet of you for offering. I have a ton of it too. I don't think I have any room for anything else, but that's very nice of you to offer. All right. Now I'm going to trim. I'm going to take my staples out first, or there will be no trimming. don't know if this is just a really old pair of staple remover, but the staples get caught in there all the time. That's why I'm banging on the table. I'm pretty sure it's time for a new pair. I'm the kind of person that will just use something until the wheels fall off. It's not really hot out here now. Okay, so now we're going to trim our seam allowance with our pinking shears. Top of the curve all the way down the bottom to the top of the other curve, leaving a 1/4 inch of material. All right, outside, it's just about done. So that's kind of what it'll look like. You can already see it coming together. So the next step I'm going to do is sew open my side seams. I don't think the pattern calls for you to do your seams a different way. I didn't try it the way the pattern suggests, so I can't comment whether this is better or worse, but this is what I do. This works for me. I got people calling me. I got people texting me. Miss Nisi, can you use a domestic machine? I would say yes. I would say yes. I could do this with a domestic machine. Right now we're just working with 2 layers of vinyl. Okay, so I just sew open my side seams just like that. And I just go all the way across each side. Boop, boop, boop. Set aside. Done with the outside. That's it. Inside. Let's go ahead and add our credit card pocket. So I just showing us how to do this because how can I make that pattern? Yeah, of course. This will also go up in my YouTube. So if you want to watch it while you're making it, how about it? My YouTube is linked in my TikTok profile. So if you go over there, to the right of the follow button is an Instagram icon. If you click on the Instagram icon, it'll give you my Instagram and my YouTube. So I just put a little piece of double-sided tape on the bottom. Take off the backing. I go up, I want to say like 1.25 inches. Yeah, 1.25 inches. The center of my lining is already marked because I added that little snip. I'm just going to eyeball the center of this, go up 1.25 inches, tape that in place. And then now we're going to sew this down. So here's how I do mine. Because it's such a small piece of material, however, it's going to get a lot of use with people going in and out of it. I'm going to put, let me show you. Let me just do it and then show you. It's kind of hard to explain it to you. So I'm going to start about 1/4 inch away from the edge. I'm going to put my needle down and stitch 1. Sound like I'm crocheting. So there's 1 stitch going that way. And then I'm going to stitch down. I'm going to back stitch though. So stitch, stitch, back, back, and then go all the way down. So I have 1 stitch at the top and then we're going down. And that just reinforces this top part because again, people are going to be going in and out of it. So I want to just have a little stitch at the top. Same thing over here. All the way to the top, back stitch, boom, boom, come back up to the top, stitch 1, and then I'm going to pull my thread through and knot it off. And I'll show you up close what it looks like. Cindy, you've missed almost an hour, but it's okay. This is going to go up on my YouTube, and then at 2 o'clock or whenever we're finished with this, whichever is later, I'm going to go on YouTube and redo it. The thing I love about YouTube Live is that, like, I watch other people on YouTube Live, is that you can minimize it and go to like your text messages or your emails or Facebook, and it still has that little picture in picture. It just minimizes the video and the live still playing while you can do other things. TikTok kind of has you hostage, right? If you close out, it closes out the live. So that's why I love YouTube. All right, so we start one stitch down with the back stitch, and then we back stitch when we end, and then we come over one stitch, and that just reinforces that top, but you can still add cards. So I think this will hold up to like 5 cards. I only have 2 here, but it'll hold a ton of cards because I designed it to have a lot of extra space. So that's where the credit card ends, and then there's still almost a whole inch, so it gives you the width to add more cards in there. And then it's got this little circle, so it's easy to just pull out. You don't even have to dig in. Yeah, it's butter bags too. Also, it's butter bags on YouTube. So when we're done with this, I'm gonna, if it's not yet 2 o'clock, I'm gonna run and take a quick break. But if we get off here and it's 2 o'clock, I'll just transition over there to YouTube. And then I'm gonna re-sew this bag. I'm just gonna use a different print. All right, so we have our credit card panel attached. This looks a little bit shorter than the outside panel, right? That's because we're gonna add a top panel to the bag like that. Before we do that, I need to make my zippered closure. So let me find that. All right, here's how I make my zipper closure. It's different than what the pattern calls for, even the modified pattern. These are going to be 8 inches long and 1.5 inches wide. This is 13 inches long. My zipper. Going to go ahead and add my pull. The way the modified version shows you how to make the zipper panel, it's a good idea. It's a cool idea because it gives you finished edges. This is going to have a raw edge on it, but what it does, it's like a long one long piece, and then you just kind of sew it, and then you fold it so that you have no raw edges at the top of it. Just a good idea, but I just find that it was just so thick. I didn't like it. So I'm doing it this way. Again, don't worry about writing down the measurements. This will be on YouTube. I'm going to fold down my zipper, come at a 45-degree angle. I have a tutorial on how to do this if you're interested. This is going to allow it to lay in that zipper panel nicely. You can measure it so that it's, it's even. I've made so many of these. I like YouTube Live because you can watch it later as well. Exactly, it automatically saves to my page. And you can even see the comments from YouTube Live. So we have them folded over, and then now I'm going to stitch those down. So with TikTok, I have to download TikTok to this live to my phone, and then I have to upload it to YouTube, and that takes a couple hours. But YouTube, it automatically uploads that live, and you can watch it right away. RIP to my little pen. You guys see that? All right, so just stitching along those sides, just like that, and then now I'm just going to trim that excess off. It's not my pattern. It is by Knotted Threads Co. Knotted, Knotted Threads, Threads Co. Okay, now I'm going to install this in my panel. And if you guys have seen me make the Becca before, I've done this 100 times. I'm going to start that zipper about 1/4 inch below the top. So the top of this, the zipper starts about 1/4 inch below that, and then I line up both pieces. I'm gonna open up my zipper and then clip that zipper tape down onto that one piece of vinyl, making sure that the amount of zipper tape is the same along the entire side. And then do the same thing on the other one. So that is just clipped in place. And then now we're going to add the back of it. I'm just going to line it up, clip it in place. I was getting clip withdrawal. I know, right? There's not enough clips on this pattern so far, but we make up with it with the zipper panel always. Then now I'm just going to adjust these clips along the side so that it includes the back. Do the same thing to the other side. And just adjust the clips to include the back. And then I'm going to stitch it in place. So I'm going to stitch down, up, and then across on both sides. How did I miss the announcement of the new bag? Where have you been? Where have you been? We've been talking about it for a week at least. I do have some patterns that I sell. They're on my website under digital patterns. Yeah, I agree, Jamie. The other style that the zipper panel is done, like I said, it's a neat concept, and if you don't want to worry about raw edges, it's a good way to make it. To me, this is just easier. I think it just lays better because it's not as thick. It's just my favorite way to do zippers. It's just a preference thing when you're sewing. Techniques, zippers, pockets, there's a ton of different ways that you can do them. So it really just comes down to what you like to do best. This is what I like to do best. I'm not going to sew this outside. You don't need to. You can if you want. Preference. Think of an hint, but did you actually say? Yeah, it's right here. It's called the Aries crossbody bag. It's by Knotted Thread Co. I hope she gets all the pattern purchases. She deserves it. This is a good bag. It's a great pattern too. There's quite a few ways that you can make it. All right. When I was sewing, my panel shifted a little bit. You see how you can see the back of it? And because it's a raw edge, I'm just going to trim that off. I just pull my zipper away and just trim it down. That way, from the top angle, you don't see that back anymore. You don't see it from the back either, but you're not going to see this. Okay. So remember how I said I use a 13-inch zipper? I'm going to cut this down 2.5 inches from the end of my zipper panel. So I'm just going to line this up to my ruler, the end of my zipper panel, not where the pull is, but the back. I'm going to measure 2.5 inches, mark it, and then trim that off. This is not part of the pattern, which is why I'm giving these measurements. Gonna hit that with a lighter. Get my zipper end. Draw a line down the center. My zipper end is 1.5 by 1 3/4. And then what I'm going to do on the edge, that's 1 3/4. I'm going to measure in half of that, or mark half of that. The center, I guess I should say. So it's the center long ways. Then I'm going to put a piece of double-sided tape on each edge. That's going to hold that to the zipper while I'm sewing it in place. I love your zipper techniques. Thanks. It's this bag right here, Jennifer. I showed it off when I started, but once I'm done, I'll obviously show it off again. I'm going to take one of the backs off of the double-sided tape. I'm going to go teeth down a little bit below that center mark. And that room between the top of the zipper and that center mark gives me the space that I need for the back of it, because it's not just flat. We need a little bit of extra space for when this goes around. I'm going to fold this over, line that top up, and then sew a rectangle all the way around. I'm not going to cut my tails yet. When I come back, I'm actually going to sew over my tails and then back stitch, and that just kind of locks it in place. I'll show you up close what it looks like. Cinch those little pieces of thread. So that is my zipper panel. Now what I'm going to do is, with the zipper teeth up, I'm going to mark the center of my panel. So my panel is 8 inches long. I'm going to mark at the 4-inch mark. Okay, let's grab our interior piece that we did earlier. Remember, we marked the top center and the bottom center. I'm going to match that center mark with my panel to the center mark of my interior. Interior fabric is right side up, zipper panel is right side up. And you can clip those in place if you want. And then remember how we have the top of the interior, we're going to align that wrong side up to the top of the interior. So this will go across the top of the interior, clip all 3 layers in place. And then we're going to stitch that down. You just purchased her pattern? Good. It's a great pattern. It really is. I don't know her. I'm not getting any commission off of this pattern. She probably doesn't even know who I am, but it's a really good pattern. All right. So all 3 of those layers have been stitched together. So typically when I make a bag, I like to top stitch the vinyl. We're not going to do that this time. We're going to lift up our top piece. We're going to lift up our zipper. We're going to make sure all of those layers are underneath. See how they're all underneath our interior. And then we're going to top stitch the interior. And this affects the way our zipper panel lays inside of our bag when we're done. So if we were to top stitch the vinyl, our zipper panel would be a little bit puffier. But since we're top stitch, see how there's no top stitch on this or the zipper? The top stitch is on the fabric. And that allows our zipper panel to lay the way that it does. Which is so cute. It's a recessed zipper. All right, top stitch. Uh-oh. I gotta check my bobbin. It looks like it kind of messed up. That's kind of an understatement. I said it looks like it kind of messed up. But yeah, it is. I wonder what that was. There we go. Let me check my bottom. Everything looks good. All right, let's do it again. Okay, top stitch done on our interior lining piece right here. And then we're going to do the exact same thing with the other side. So we're going to grab our other interior lining, right side up. We're going to turn our zipper panel right side up, match those marks. And again, you can clip that in place. You can even do a stay stitch right now if you'd like. If you're kind of new at sewing, I would recommend just to do a little stay stitch. And a stay stitch is usually a longer stitch and it's outside of your seam allowance. So if your seam allowance, if this is the edge of the fabric and your seam allowance is 3/8 of an inch, you'll want to stitch this closer to the edge of your fabric. That's a stay stitch. And then we'll take our top panel and we'll put that wrong side up and lay that at the top of the interior fabric. Clip that in place and then sew it down. This is also a good way to sew the zipper down. That way you know everything is not going to be shifting because you have 3 layers of fabric right here that aren't sewn together. So they could move. And if you do it like this, you know they won't move. All right. And then just like before, we're going to open that up and we're going to do a top stitch on our fabric. This comes together so fast. On YouTube, I'll probably sew it a lot faster next because I've already shown all the steps and this is kind of going to be like the tutorial and I'll upload this YouTube later. But see how you can kind of see this is what it's going to look like when we open up the bag. So our zipper is sewn in. And then the last step is just to add the gusset, which goes all the way around, just like we did the outside. So I'm going to set this aside and work on our gusset. Just like the interior, we have a top piece of vinyl that we're going to sew on, right sides together. So I'm going to line this up. I'm just going to pull the other side over so I don't have to cut and restart. And then just like the inside, we're going to open this up and we're going to do a top stitch along the fabric, not the vinyl. I mean, do whatever you want, but I'm pretty sure the pattern calls for this. And then now we're going to add this gusset to our inside, our interior. That's what it looks like. This is a size 18 needle. This is the needle that I use. influencer posts. I don't know if that's, there we go. That's the needle that I use. Okay, so we're going to mark, I don't have a center marked. I do have the center marked. Let me just double check. After we put our tops on, it could adjust the center or change where it is if our seam allowance is wrong, but that's right on. So that's our center line. So remember we did a little cut for the center of the bottom. I'm going to match up the center of my gusset, match those marks up, clip them in place. Just like before, I'm going to start with my straightways. So the bottom has a straightway, and then the top of the sides have a straightway. And then I'm going to deal with those curves in a second. Because this is cotton, I'm going to use my pins for my corners instead of the stapler. You can't pin vinyl, which is why I stapled it, but you can pin cotton, so I'm just going to do that. So we've got the gusset clipped to the straightways all the way around. I'm just going to grab my pin and pin my corners. There's the print on the shelf. This is the new bag right here. Sorry, I turned it when I put it back. And then there's literally like 2 or 3 more steps to this bag and it is done. We're making good time too. So I just pin the corner, the curved corner. You can use clips if you want. Then you run into, when you take the clips off to sew, the fabric could shift and it could mess up your seam allowance. That's why I like to use pins, because you can sew over them. You shouldn't, but I do. Done, son. Then you're done, son. All right. Make sure I get my zipper panel, my other side out of the way so I don't sew it down. I'm gonna trim my thread where I started. All right. And then just like before, I'm going to start at the top of this curve, and then I'm going to use my pinking shears to get off the extra fabric to the top of this curve. I'm going to leave 1/4 of an inch of fabric behind. And there we go. So just like that, about 1/4 of an inch of fabric all the way behind. And then now we're going to go ahead and add the gusset to this side. So we're going to start with our center, match those centers up, clip, then pin. Bring it around the side. I'm going to tuck my zipper in. Come over here. Yeah, I'm going to YouTube. Hopefully we finish this a little bit before 2 o'clock. That way I can take a quick break, take my dogs out. That's probably what will happen. I know I have a YouTube event right now scheduled for 2 o'clock. So if you go over to my page and go over underneath the live events, you can click to get notified as soon as I'm live. So as soon as I'm live, you'll get a YouTube notification. But it's scheduled for 2 o'clock. If I end this live a little early, which I should, I'll be over there by 2. If I end this live at like 2:10, I'm going to take a quick break and then just jump up there right after. Okay, so we have that all clipped in place. Look at this. You can already tell the inside of the bag. All right, let's set it down. Get on with the show. Your pens are a lot smaller than mine. These are... I don't even know if I remember what they are. I don't remember what they are. I bought them so long ago. All right. Done with the pens. Trim our seam allowance down to 1/4 with pinking shears. This is optional. I just like to do it. One, it removes the excess material. I think it allows the inside to lay nice and flat. It reduces the bulkiness. All right, done. And then now I'm going to open up my side seams and stitch those open. I unzip it for this part. Have you ever thought about a storefront? I thought about it. I even went like as far as to look around the area. So I'm in Hawaii. It's just unrealistic here. But this is the longest that we've been somewhere in like 7 years. We've been doing a lot of moving around. My husband's in the Army, and we were here for 3 years, and I was like, man, a storefront would be nice. So I looked around. It's just so expensive. The overhead cost for a storefront, I would have to hire people. I have trust issues. I don't want anybody doing anything but me. It would just be unsustainable for me to open up a storefront by myself. I would have to hire people. My trust issues can never. Now, when I get back home, if I'm close to my family and they're available to help, I would love a storefront. Nothing big, nothing big. All right, so our interior is all done. I sewed open our side seams. I'm gonna set this aside and then work on our connectors. So this is the pattern for the connector. I like to add a piece of Decaville Light. I just take the pattern piece. I also have this on my plastic chopping mat. I lay this down on my Decaville. I trace out the actual pattern, and then when I'm cutting it, I cut it about 1/4 inch smaller and then adhere it. I'm gonna use some double-sided tape. So I cut 2 pieces out of the actual pattern, and then I take a piece of scrap that is bigger and then sew it down. Similar to my notebook holders. You know how I make these little closure pieces right here? I do it the exact same way. Maybe a storefront at home. A she shed. Yeah, I thought about that too. So it really just, I just don't want people in my yard. In my home, unless we have like a ton of acreage and I can completely separate it from my home. You guys, I have trust issues. This is called the Aries crossbody bag by Knotted Thread Co. So I just tape that to a piece of scrap, and then I'm going to sew it on and then cut it out. It's not my pattern, girls say. Okay. Get my tension good. I don't backstitch when I start and stop. Instead, I'm going to pull my thread through. Somebody said that they had a problem sewing curves earlier. I'm going to show you what I do. A lot of my patterns that I use or sew that have curves, a lot of the times I just use my arm. Turn my material, stitch one stitch. Turn my material, stitch one stitch. And just keep going. There's no shame. I've been sewing for a long time and sometimes I have to do it. I'm going to stop and pull my thread through. But that usually gives you the best looking curve anyway. Just doing it manually. Do I teach sewing classes? This is like the extent of my teaching. Hi, Kelly. I keep telling myself I'll watch later on YouTube and I keep coming back to this live. All right. See how pretty those stitches are around that curve? Use your hand. Do it manually. Don't stress yourself out. All right, so I'm pulling my thread through the back, knotting it off. You can backstitch when you start and when you stop. I just like this method better. I think it looks a little cleaner on the front. So you can kind of see where I started and where I stopped right here. But there's not like multiple layers where I backstitch started, backstitch stopped. I don't know if that. And then now I'm just going to cut it out. So just like our zipper panel, this does have a raw edge. You can use edge coat on it. I don't think it's necessary. What about putting your bags in a local shop? I thought about that too, but then I have to pay them for it. I think that the issue is like I do really well with sales on live, and I'm not bragging, I'm just giving you guys an insight. So it's like if I can keep my overhead costs low and just sell on live or sell in my Facebook group, there's no need for me to give other people money. Like I don't want to give you money to sell my bags in your shop when I could just go on live and show them and sell them. So here's what it looks like all trimmed out. That's the back of it. Remember, we pulled those threads through the back and knotted it off. That's going to be the front. I'm gonna do the same thing over here. Made a business edition live. You got started as day in business. Oh, you know what? I will give a lot of the credit to is God, obviously, for the know-how and the peace that I have. I have an amazing family support system, yada, yada. But I have an amazing following, and a lot of people have been with me since the beginning of me starting my business. Return sales is a huge thing, and most of my customers are return customers. If you have a really good product, and you have to have something that's a little bit different, right? If you can get the same thing somewhere else, what's going to bring people to you? That was rhetorical. But like, I know I have a lot of different unique prints, and a lot of people come to me because of my prints. So you just have to find something that allows you to stand out, have a really good quality product, and stay in touch with your people that made you. I appreciate everybody. Everybody loves a humble queen. So even though like I have a lot of following, I make a lot of sales, but even like when I do my custom orders, I try to remember to thank them for letting me make it for them. I have people that are in line for months at a time to get an order made by me that's custom. So even though I'm sure they're grateful that I made it for them, I'm grateful for them. So never get too big in your head. Stay humble. Here's the other one. And then now I'm going to turn that down. All right, enough of me rambling. This bag is put together a bit differently than I've done any other bag. So most of my bags we sew them inside out and we turn it right side out through our zipper pocket. You can do that with this bag because we have a zipper pocket on the outside. But the pattern and the way that I do it, which I love from the pattern, is to do a drop-in lining. So what that means is that we're going to finish the outside, finish the inside, and then we're just going to drop it in and do a top stitch. So that's what we're going to do next. Right now, I have my little pattern piece that I made. These little holes is where we're going to install our rivet. So I just transfer those holes. I'm gonna set that aside. You did a great job. Oh, thanks, Mina. You come back to the States, will you? Where will I be located? I don't know yet. We don't know. Okay, so we're going to finish our edges by placing a piece of double-sided tape right above that line that we made. This was the very first step. I think it was the first step of making the bag. We're going to put double-sided tape all along the line, the top of the line, all the way around. YouTube just notified me about you. Texas. We really want to go to Texas when we're out of here, but it depends on if he takes another assignment. He will take another assignment. We just don't know where it would be. So I'm just moving that tape along the front line. This is 1/4 inch double-sided tape. So remember how I said earlier that you will use a lot of double-sided tape? You will use a lot of double-sided tape. All right. Just gonna press that tape in there so it's all the way around, right above that line. We're gonna do the same thing for the outside. Why are you leaving Hawaii? My husband's in the military, so it'll be the end of his assignment. Same thing, right above that line, all the way around. And then when I go over my sides, I want to make sure that my side seam stays open, and I'm taping that open. Just like that. See how it's taped open all the way down? Gonna get this little pocket out of the way. All right, back to the beginning. I'm gonna start with my interior. I'm gonna take the backing off of that tape. I start with my sides. We're gonna fold over the top to where that raw edge meets that line. And then I like to put a couple of clips in the corners just because that's where the stress points are. So I'm going to start on the sides, fold over. So you see how you might not be able to see the top of the line that's drawn down, the edge of the material meets that line. And I'm just going to keep doing that all the way around. Super easy because it's being held in that tape. There we go. This is one side without it. This is what it looks like with it. So we are finishing the edge. We have a finished edge on top here. And that's what a drop-in lining is. We're going to just drop this in to the outside. That's going to have a finished edge as well. Here we go. So it's all finished now. And then we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to put them together. No wonder why your time so fast. The big eyelash here, yeah. I need some water. Start on the sides. And then bring it on down. I've been watching this whole time and just realized that much is the material. You made me. Yeah. I have a couple of items in this Highland cow. So do the same thing over here. Fold that over to where the edge touches the top of that line. Push it in that double-sided tape. All right, now we're going to turn this one right side out. So again, if you don't want to do it like this, you can sew them together like you normally do, and then you would not finish the bottom of this zipper pocket. So instead of closing this by stitching it shut, you would leave it open like we normally do, and then you can turn it right side out through that pocket. All right, so see how we have a finished edge on our outside? We're going to drop this in. If my zipper pocket is over here, I'm going to put my slip pocket on the opposite side to kind of balance out the weight. See how this wants to go over here because we have the extra material on this side. I want the extra material on the opposite side so it balances out that weight. We're going to line them up. See how it's kind of balanced now, it's not falling over. So we're going to start with our side seams, match those up. Clip it in place. Thanks, Beach Bum. I'm just surprised with the baby and the Highland cows. Oh, what a sweet hubby. Good guy. All right, so I got my side seams clipped in place, and then now I'm going to just connect it all the way around. Just line them up, clip them in place. Get a piece of thread. This is called the Aries, A-R-I-E-S, crossbody bag. It's by Knotted Thread Co. K-N-O-T-T-E-D, E-D, Knotted Thread Co. Would a regular sewing machine be able to do the same? Yeah, so this is going to be the thickest part right here, and it's 4 layers of vinyl. So we have the 2 layers of exterior. Remember, it's folded over, so there's 2 layers, and then the interior is folded over. So there's 4 layers of vinyl. So if your sewing machine can sew through that, you can absolutely. My domestic sewing machine can. This one right here. So this is going to be the thickest part of the bag. And then you can even use cotton for the outside, so it's not as thick. So yeah, this does not require an industrial. All right, we're all clipped around. We have a nice finished edge on our bag. See how there's no raw edges now? And then all we're going to do is top stitch all the way around. Let me get my tension good. Gotta hold down your zipper panel. And just like everything else, just about, I'm not going to back stitch. I'm going to pull my thread through. Just stitch and turn. Pull my thread through where I started. I can see it. Keep going. Thanks, Nikki. Thanks, guys. All right. Top stitched all the way around. Let me pull my thread through. I'm going to zip it up so I can see it a little bit better. The brown on brown, the brown thread with the brown vinyl, it's just so hard to see. So that is why it doesn't, I mean, it works out most of the time, but that's why I don't back stitch. Instead, I pull my thread through. I'm going to show you exactly where I started and where I stopped. You're not going to be able to tell because it's right here in this white place. Yeah. But when you start sewing and you stop sewing in that same hole, it's like a seamless stitch. And when you back stitch, you have multiple stitches. And then when you back stitch, when you stop, same thing. So most of the time it ends up like this. Sometimes I over sew and I go in like 2 stitches, no biggie. But if you do it right, it's worth it because it looks really pretty when it's done. All right, top stitch is done. Just gonna singe that. So our bag is done. That is how you make this. And then all we have to do is attach our connectors to the side. How adorable is this? Okay, so I already transferred my marks from my pattern piece to my connector pieces. I'm going to poke out those holes. I'm like, can you please start over? Good news. At 2 o'clock in about 15 minutes, I'm going to jump on YouTube and I'm going to make this bag all over again from start to finish. I'm going to be using a different pattern. And then this live will go up on YouTube later. All right. I have a D-ring, rivets. I do my rivets just a touch differently than the pattern calls for. 2 regular rivets, 2 large rivets. Okay, so these are going to be attached on the side right here. So the little hole where our rivets go, the pattern tells you where to do it. I'm going to unzip this. I'm going to fold, make sure that my side seam is lined up. Measure down where my rivet needs to go. Mark it out. This is how I do it. Punch those holes out. Okay, so where our holes go for the rivets, down here, it's 2 layers of vinyl, the exterior and then this interior piece. I'm going to add another rivet up top here. And remember up here, there's 4 layers of vinyl because we have it folded over. So that's why I use a large rivet in the top and a medium rivet in the bottom. So I'm going to take this. Now there is a piece where we pulled our thread through and we cut it and singed it. This is going to be the back. So I'm going to put the front rivet on the, let's say, perfect side. I'm going to put my D-ring where the flat piece is where the ugly side is. Put my rivet through that hole. Fold this over. And now the ugly side is up against the interior, so you won't see it. Add the back. And then I'm going to add another hole at the top. And the way that I just do that is just kind of eyeball it. I mean, you can use your ruler and measure up. It's not that big of a deal, just to eyeball. I say that and watch it get messed up. All right, put my large rivet through there because there's way more material. And the back. And then I'll set those. So I add an extra rivet up top. The pattern doesn't call for it. I'm gonna do the same thing over here. Ugly side, rivet, D-ring, attach, flip over, connect that hole to the rivet, add the back, add another rivet, and then we're going to set that rivet. I'm not going to do the crossbody strap only because I have 15 minutes left before I have to start my other live and I have to call my husband and do a couple other things. But they all come, this is going to be the crossbody strap for this bag. They all come with a shoulder strap and crossbody strap and a new little charm. So I just add that new little BB charm to the zipper pull. Let me grab my press. That large rivet, it just takes a second to get that underneath there. Grab our shoulder strap that we did earlier. So again, the shoulder strap is removable. So you can have the shoulder strap and the crossbody strap on. Let me go grab one that has the crossbody strap already. Here we go. So I have 2 of these in all of the prints. They'll come with a shoulder strap. You can take this off and you can use the crossbody strap, or you can have both of them on there at the same time. And this extends, I believe, 50 inches, or you can use this as a shoulder strap, but it'll extend, so make it larger to go crossbody. But that is how I make the Aries crossbody bag by Knotted Threads Co. I hope you love it. It will be available tomorrow, maybe tonight. I'm going to check with my Facebook group as soon as I get off of here. So I need to do a couple things. I might not make it at 2 on YouTube, but if you sign up to get notified, you'll get notified as soon as I go live by clicking on the bell next to my name on YouTube. To find my YouTube channel, just go over to my profile, click on the Instagram icon to the right of the follow button, and it'll give you my Instagram and my YouTube. I'm going to be making a whole another one. Let me show you. Do you want to see daisies or wolves? Thanks, guys. Oh, here's the zipper with the little double B for butter bags. They're double-sided too, so it doesn't matter how you have your zipper pull, you'll see the B's. Daisies, wolves, daisies, daisies. Looks like daisies so far. It looks like daisies. I'm going to show everything when I'm done. I think daisies won. So it's going to be daisies. All right, so I'm going to jump off here, do a couple of things. If you're not already following me, hi, follow me. I will go live again here on Tuesday. So I'll be in YouTube in about 10-15 minutes, and then we'll make this all over again from start to finish with a different print with the daisies. All right, bye you guys.